You have to say those two batsmen who have played so beautifully have pretty much dragged themselves off the field and up the stairs, because Nas, that has been sensational from both of them, but it's taken it out of them.
It sure has. I mean, Joe Root's been on that cricket field now for 3 days, apart from 8 deliveries, 8 balls, and that in this heat and humidity, and the way you're having to run 1s and 2s and 3s, a phenomenal effort. You're a fool to say, oh, it's a good pitch, a flat pitch. You still got to get the job done. You still got to show your fitness. You still got to show everything about your temperament, your concentration. Utterly, utterly brilliant. And here comes a man to join us. You must have admired that knock.
Absolutely. All the throws I've been giving him, it's finally paying off, isn't it? It's amazing, isn't it? You know, to think, you know, we sit and we're lucky enough to sit and watch history being made almost as a man goes on to be the leading run scorer in this country, so, or in England. Incredible. You know, the way he goes about it, the work he puts in, and continues to, you know, strive for greatness all the time. And he's been superb, and it will continue to be superb for a number of years yet.
Well, you'll see it firsthand, that desire to keep getting better. It still burns hot.
Oh, huge, yeah. I think, you know, I don't know where it can end almost, how much it's going to carry on. Obviously, we'll hopefully see more and more over the next few years. And you look at his record in the last couple of years, they're talking about 1700s in the last two and a half years. Yeah, it just continues to sort of produce the results home and away, tough conditions, spin, seaming conditions, all these different things that you put together. It's incredible, really.
The numbers say one thing, shows how great he is in the pantheon of English players, world players perhaps. When you see him play, what do you see? As a guy that loves cricket, loved batting himself, when you watch him play, what do you see?
A technician of the game, you know, in terms of the ability to, you know, build his own game around what he's trying to do. Technique-wise is superb, but someone who does sort of tinker quite a bit in practice, trying to get it right. Puts in hours of sort of preparation, and often in the nets will feel like something's not quite right, but has the ability to walk over the line, get out into the middle, and almost that disappears because he's just solely focused on watching the ball more often than not. Is there one thing that separates him from other players that you may have seen? We often talk about the ability, for example, to pick length very quickly. Is that something that springs to mind with Joe, or is it a bigger package? Look, I don't know if you can score that volume of runs over a number of years and just have one thing that really defines you. I think it's there'll be multiple things, from his ability to read length against spin, his ability to bat for long periods of time in conditions like we've seen today, to go to Australia and, you know, play against the ball that's quicker than everywhere else, or bouncing more than anywhere else, in the conditions that you see in all parts of the world. It's an ability to adapt and read situations what it is. I think there's so many things that will combine to make him the great player that he is.
Tell us what he tinkers with, because what we see out there pretty much over the last dozen years is a pretty similar Joe Root. What would he come up to you or Paul Collingwood and say, can you have a look at this and can I work on this?
All sorts.
Is it?
It's really all sorts. So in India, when we were there, he batted left-handed for about 45 minutes in the nets. So you saw one ball today. Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? It's like, you just got 100 batting right-handed. It can be his hands, it can be his feet, it can be his head, it can be the grip on his bat, it can be anything that you know come up with. I think, as we all did when we were sort of trying to find form or trying to look for that great things that you're trying to play, you know, you're getting around trying to find different things that's going to make it work. At the end of the day, he comes back to the simple thing of watching the ball well. And when he gets it right, he does it better than most people in the world. So the consistency he has to be able to switch his brain into gear and get out in the middle and put all that different distractions behind him, that's what is the ability, I think, that really makes him great.
And a genuine love for the game. Have you ever seen that diminished in any way? Have you ever seen, maybe while he was captain or whatever, but has he diminished that love for that game and the hunger?
No, I don't think it. We've never seen any difference with what he's done. Of course, you have different challenging times, and there's always moments in everyone's career. Captaincy was one, as we talked about, but you know, going through bad spells, it's always challenging, isn't it? You don't have that same enjoyment as you want to get when you're playing really well and you're scoring multiple hundreds, you know, back to back. But I think the passion is still there to go and practice, get it right, and hoping then the next game is the one where you get that sort of the form back into play, and you get the big scores that you're always looking for.
Coming back to Pakistan, we obviously look back at the scores and how England won 3-0 in such sensational style, and looked at the batting particularly, because it was exceptionally brisk to put time into the game, and you looked at who scored the runs, and actually it wasn't Joe. I'm right in saying that during that period, that was sort of when Joe came out with a comment, I'm trying to work out where I fit into this side, you know, under Brendan, under Ben, wanting to play it in a different way. Did you have any conversations with him about that period? Because he was starting to scoop and he was trying to go away from what he has done today. Did you have conversations with him, and do you think he's just gone back to being the best Joe Root he can be, which is well enough, thank you very much.
Yeah, it is. Look, I think it's such a fine line, and you know, we're always encouraging that we're trying to push the boundaries of what we're trying to do. We want to be able to score quickly, we want to be able to score positively. Within that, there's room for everybody to play in their own fashion. And I think, you know, Joe, you know, has a great method of against different spin bowlers or against quick bowlers that he is able to put together. Maybe it's just, he's toned it back a little bit, maybe a little bit. But I would bet you over the course of the last couple of years, he's still been more positive and scored quicker than he had done maybe in previous years. So, you know, I don't think he's gone back to how he used to play and, you know, a bit like you, be boring and just sort of like do nothing. It would be, you know, still looking to score, He just plays it in his own way, and it's different. It allows Zach, it allows Harry Brook, it allows Ben Duckett and Ben Stokes and, you know, everybody around him to be their more natural player and their style of play, which is a bit more aggressive.
He works you hard, obviously challenges you as a coach as well, I'd imagine, to have a look at him and say, well, actually, maybe you've done something wrong. And if you think he isn't doing anything wrong, how difficult is it to say, well, just keep going the way you go? Well,
it's both me and Collie, really. I think we're very close with different players, some people more than others. And I think over the course of a period of time, one of us might be working with him for an hour here or an hour there. So we're always trying to get an understanding. There's never much wrong. I think more than anything else, it's just getting the brain in the right place, getting it feeling happy about walking out to bat. We all know it's a little bit uncomfortable when you're not playing very well. You're just not quite picking the ball up. Maybe you're thinking too much about your feet and all these different things. But if you just try and keep him back on the level even keel and sort of calm on his mind about, you know, just get back to simplicity of watching the ball, playing it late, you know it'll come pretty quickly after that.
So 12 years of sheer excellence, really. Remarkable.
Amazing to think, you know, for an England batter, you know, we all know the conditions in England are challenging in comparison to other countries. And he's put in the performances he has is amazing. When you look at the stats against everybody else, you know, it's right up there with the best ever.
Thank you for talking to us. Could I take your microphone off you? No because worries. I'm going to shake your hand.
All right, mate. Good stuff.
Thank you. And invite Ben Duckett to come in. Pop in here, Ben. Nice to see you. Come in the middle, mate. First things first, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, to be honest. I'd have certainly taken that last night when it happened. But yeah.
Did you fear the worst?
Well, I kind of knew. I did the exact same thumb a couple of years ago and it looked identical. So, I mean, obviously when that happens and you field it for 150 overs and you're expecting to go and bat, it's not ideal. But straight away, I knew it was dislocated. And then when it went back in, it felt clear that there's no break. So
no need for a scan or anything?
Well, I mean, that hasn't been the plan that we've had, so I don't think so. And obviously batting at times, probably when it hit the splice against the seamers was tough, but yeah, generally against spin. And, you know, I went in the net this morning and the first thing I kind of did was sweep and reverse sweep just to see if I could, and it was all right. So yeah, fingers crossed it'll just be one of those you kind of got to bear through a bit of pain and keep going.
I remember interviewing you here last time. Brad just got 7th, and I said to you, are you all picking him? And you're very confident. You went, yeah, we're fine, thank you very much. And since then, actually, you've shown as a team pretty much a similar batting lineup, but you are playing him better and picking him. Just that one innings really helped you get into it all.
Yeah, I remember that, and I got a bit of stick for saying that, I think. But this is the thing with Test cricket. You end up playing against guys more, and you can try and work out what deliveries they're bowling and what's different about that delivery. So, you know, I remember that, and he got 7th for him. We hadn't seen him before. You know, we go to the next game or the third game and it's spinning a lot more. It's going to be a little bit more challenging. But I think, you know, playing a leg spinner when the ball's not doing a great deal is far different to when there's foothills there and it's spinning.
I spoke with you a couple of months ago now when we were interviewing, and I asked you about where you were with your game, and you said you felt you could be your authentic self. You could play how you wanted to play, maybe as a youngster, and go out and do it. How pleased are you you've managed to continue that over the last 12 months or so, and even into white ball cricket?
Yeah, I'm obviously really happy with the form that I've had. I think I'm always very critical on myself, and you know, I know we've had an incredible day, so it can be looked past. But you know, I've got myself in a few times in the last however many tests, and I'm the first person to know that. You know, I kind of pride myself on scoring hundreds, and today it felt like it was going to be one of those days, until I missed that ball. But it's something that I'm very aware of, and that's maybe the different side of things now, the mental side of the game of, you know, getting yourself into those positions and really kicking on and going big.
I know you didn't go out with him to start the innings, but how nice is it to have Zach? I know you get on very well with Zach, not just at the anthems when you all look up at each other and look down at each other. You get on very well. To see him batting the way he did, he just sets the tone for the whole team, doesn't he? So well.
He does. You know, it's so good having him back and seeing how well he looked. It looked like he hadn't been away at all. But I completely agree. You know, I don't go out there at the top of the order and I'm, you know, smacking their best balls down the ground or stuff. But the way that he goes about it and the shots that he plays straight away, it was obviously very different for me last night. It was the first time I've sat in the dressing room and watched it. Yeah, but it's just great to have him back and playing well.
Bigger picture up there in terms of what we've seen today. Joe goes past Sir Alastair Cook. What was it like up there?
Yeah, well, I was with him at the time, and I think he kind of made out he didn't know, but he definitely knew exactly how many runs he needed. He always talks about not wanting to beat these records and stuff, and to be fair, Ruti's the same every day. He's such a humble guy, and you know, you wouldn't know that you're kind of with greatness in the dressing room. You know, he's always tinkering with his game and hitting the most balls and working so hard, and you know, it's just so good to have in the dressing room. You know, I remember last time he came and he probably didn't get the runs out here that he'd have wanted. You know, so to go and start the series like that is so good.
What have you picked from his game? Have you learned anything from his game that you've taken into yours?
Well, I think the one thing now is, you know, kicking on and getting those big scores. You know, everyone
he was talking about that a few years ago in his career.
Yeah, I remember I got asked that a few weeks ago, and I remember thinking back to it saying, if I ever had that problem in Test cricket, I'd be pretty happy. But you know, these things happen, and Ruti, obviously, the amount of cricket you play, you're going to go through periods where you don't get over the line, and you're going to have periods right now where he's cashing in and scoring hundreds for fun. So, you know, me and Ruti are very different players. I think over the years I've kind of come to terms with trying to be the best version of myself rather than, you know, looking at other players. But yeah, he's always someone who's there and always someone who you can learn from and talk to.
In terms of the overall state of the game, how do the team take this game forward? 64 behind.
I think I'll find that out in about 20 minutes. But look, from them getting 500, I don't think we could have done it any more at this point in the game. It's obviously a very good pitch to bat on. We're in a position now where we can try and bat for as much as we want tomorrow, depending on, you know, how quickly we score. I think the morning session's massive. I think we've got to earn the right to kind of stick it into fourth, fifth gear in the afternoon by limiting the damage in the morning. You know, but we're in a position where we could potentially go past them by 200 and be in a position where on day 5, hopefully it spins a fraction more and the bounce might be a little bit lower. So yeah, we've got to try and think like that tomorrow and keep believing that we can take 10 more wickets on the last day.
Do you think it would go like that? Do you think eventually this sun that's been beating down for 3 days will have an effect on it?
I think so. You know, I can't see it. There's always going to be the odd ball that's a bit different. You know, even when Carsey bowled that bouncer and we got an LBW, little things like that. You know, it only takes a fraction of turn to bring your spinners in the game, and you know, we're always going to be looking to take wickets. You know, we're going to be aggressive, whether it's bouncers, the spinners, whether we're attacking the knee roll. So, you know, first of all, we get ourselves in that position, and then hopefully it'll be a good day of cricket on day 5.
Appreciate your time. Well played.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming over.
Thanks.
See you tomorrow. What a day they've had overall. I mean, how do they take advantage of where they are looking ahead?
I haven't even mentioned Harold Brook yet.
We're coming on to Harold in just a sec.
It's incredible the day they've had. Like you said, they've put themselves in a position where they can put the opposition under pressure in the last 2 days. I think they'll just carry on batting. Those bowlers up there, I've played with some bowlers. that would have absolutely loved today. They'll just put their feet up, the likes of Atkinson, Cast, Wokes, a day off completely. We've had Broad in our combox. He used to love days like this, just a day off to rest the body, maybe 2 sessions off where they may have to do a little bit of batting themselves, and then they go again. Then they're in a position where they can't lose the game. So all eyes will be on that third innings, as there often is, but it could not have gone any better for England today. They've been quite brilliant, and Pakistan, as Bazid Khan said on commentary, at times have found themselves not quite getting it right in their third innings, and if England can get a sizable lead, that'll put them under pressure.
Right, we're not going to hear from Joe Root this evening because understandably he's up in the dressing room with the medical team, he's having gels put into him, he's probably in an ice bath, he needs to refuel. That's the master, you touched on it. What about the apprentice, Harry Brook?
He's just a phenomenal talent, and great to have Joe at the other end, so that likes of Harry Brook, he doesn't have to learn too much technically. What he has to learn is about temperament, so that Joe Root very rarely gives his wicket away. So those moments against Sri Lanka, when Sri Lanka are hiding the ball outside off stump and Harry gets a little bit bored with that and, you know, jokingly marks a 5th stump guard, or when Australia are bowling bouncer after bouncer and he gets a bit bored with that and he takes them on and gets out. I think that's what, as Ben Duckett just said to us, that's what he can learn having Joe Root in this dressing room. Whatever type of player you are and whatever tempo you're trying to set, whether it be Crawley, Duckett, Harry Brook, whoever, to have Joe Root just show them the value of your wicket, the value of being an international cricketer, the love of the game of cricket, and what it means after 12 years to still be playing for England and win games or try to win games for England. That's the impact you hope that Root will have on this young brigade that play in a completely different way. They go about it, they have no fear cricket, they'll be sought after by franchises and white ball, but to have Root at the other end while they are getting into their international careers is invaluable.
If Joe were to call it quits, say, after this test match, would you remember his numbers or his style?
I would remember the person. And I very rarely say that because as a captain, I'm often thinking about personalities and difficult and mavericks. And I was always a captain of, you are given the job, you have 11 different characters in your side. It's your job to make the best out of those characters. It really doesn't matter what that bloke is like as a person. At 20 for 2, it really doesn't matter if you're a good bloke or a bad bloke. Your job is to go out there and get runs for England. But I can tell you that this lad that has gone to the top of the tree is one of the nicest people you would ever want to meet. One of the most humble people, and Ben Duckett summed it up perfectly. We are in the dressing room with greatness, but he doesn't let you know he's great. Out there he lets you know he's great. In the dressing room, when he comes over in the morning, when you see him around any situation, he's a very humble, down-to-earth man. I was going to say young man, he's getting on a little bit
Still
now.
looks young.
He still looks young, and from the moment he came into the side to right now, he plays with a smile on his face, and so he ticks every ball. He's got greatness, he loves the game, he's a seriously nice lad, he's one of ours, and he's chasing down. We build up Callis rightly, we build up Ponting rightly, we build up Dravid rightly, we build up one of the greatest there's ever been in Sachin Tendulkar rightly, and one of our own is now chasing those 4 greats down. It is a pleasure to witness that lad bat, and hopefully you're wrong. Hopefully he'll carry on playing for many years to come.
I'm undoubtedly wrong. And probably what will please Joe as much as anything is that England are in a great position, even the day he's had.
Yeah, yeah, he wants to win games. He wants to, you know, he wants to score runs, but he wants to win games. Even, I love the way, you know, he lost the captaincy and Stokes took over, and he'll do anything for Ben Stokes. There's a piece on the ECB Twitter handle, social media, where Ben's talking about Joe Root, and you can see the bond and the love between those two cricketers, and that will spread through that dressing room. So a fabulous day. I'm all for results and I'm all for the team, but today was a fabulous day for one individual, and he'll make very little of it, but it was a really important day for all those reasons I give. That sort of love of batting will spread like a virus through that team, and long may it continue.
Well, he won't make a big deal out of it, but we undoubtedly should, because that is a phenomenal day for Joe Root, and he's gone past Sir Alastair Cook again and is still going. As are England. Nasser, thank you very much. They are in a fantastic position as we head tomorrow into day 4.